Welcome to the Deep Dive. This week, we're diving into a book that really made me stop and think. Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green.
Yeah, that John Green, known for his fiction like The Fault in Our Stars.
Exactly. But this is nonfiction, and it tackles why tuberculosis, which is, curable, still kills so many people.
Over 1 million a year.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack Green's approach. He blends history, science, personal stories to get at why this huge disparity exists.
And what strikes you immediately reading it is Green just lays it out there. This is a disease of poverty mainly hitting low-income countries hardest.
Despite having a cure for decades.
Exactly, which forces the question, why? Why is this still happening on such a scale?
And that's where Green, I think, really shifts the focus. He says, look, TB isn't just a medical issue. It's fundamentally about social injustice. He connects it directly to poverty, systemic racism, the legacies of colonialism, and just, broken or non-existent healthcare systems in many places.
Yeah, he argues access to the cure often depends more on who you are and where you live than the actual biology of the disease.
It's a powerful frame.
It really is. And he makes it incredibly human, doesn't he? He uses these real-life stories.
Oh, absolutely. Like the story of Henry Ryder.
Right, from Sierra Leone, battling drug-resistant TB.
Which is even harder to treat.
Much harder. Longer, tougher treatments, more expensive, often impossible in places with few resources. Henry's story just brings the statistics crashing down to, one person's struggle. It's heartbreaking, honestly.
It is. It makes it very immediate. But how does he handle such heavy material without it becoming just overwhelming?
That's his skill, I think. He weaves Henry's story and others with the history, the science, but keeps it really accessible.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a textbook.
Not at all. It's conversational.
Yeah.
He uses simple, direct language, but it carries this real emotional weight. He connects the individual suffering, like Henry's, to these massive global systems.
So that blend data, history, personal stories.
Exactly. It makes a really complex and frankly depressing topic feel understandable and deeply moving. You feel the injustice he's describing.
And he also gets into the cultural side of TD, which I found fascinating. It wasn't always just seen as this dreadful disease.
Right, the whole consumption thing in the 19th century, it was almost romanticized in art, in literature.
Yeah, like in La Bohème or Les Miserables. It's strange to think about now.
And he shows how fear of TB actually shaped cities, wider streets, better ventilation, changes in hygiene. It really burrowed deep into the social fabric.
So it's not just the medical history, it's woven into, everything.
Pretty much. And crucially, he connects that history to the present, especially the impact of colonialism.
Ah, okay. How so?
Well, he details how colonial policies often ignored or even worsened TB in colonized regions, setting up conditions where it could thrive, sometimes almost deliberately.
Wow. So not just accidental neglect.
He argues it was, in some cases, part of the system of control, leaving this terrible public health legacy that still impacts those regions today. It's a tough realization, linking that historical injustice so directly to current suffering.
That adds another really heavy layer to it.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, what's the key takeaway for you, for our listeners?
Well, the book itself is described as deeply human, impactful, and really vital for understanding global health inequality. And it does all that in, just over 200 pages?
Yeah, it's concise but powerful.
I think this deep dive shows how powerful storytelling can be, making these huge, complex global problems feel real and urgent. Really understanding has to be the first step.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Go for it.
Given that TB is curable, what does the fact that it still kills over 1 million people every year actually tell us about our world? About our priorities, maybe, and the real human cost of the inequalities Green writes about.
That's definitely something to think about.